Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for Pinkfresh Studio. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am playing the tease and giving you a little sneak peek at the brand new products that are coming to the Pinkfresh shop tomorrow, July 27th. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to be using the brand new Foliage Shaker die set as well as the dotted chevron cover plate. You're going to love these products. And I thought it would be fun to share 2 ways to use these Foliage Shaker dies. So we're going to use them as standalone dies, and then we're also going to use these dies to create a shaker card. So I'm starting with the solid images from the Foliage Shaker die set, and I'm die cutting them from some colored cardstock. I'm going to do some layering up to give these some dimension and some color and some sparkle, because you know me, I cannot live without my sparkle. And so I'm also going to be die cutting them from vellum as well. These are all the solid leaf pieces. Now for the detail pieces, which is the veining and the outline of the leaves, I'm going to go ahead and use some glitter cardstock. Now I'm using my Anna Griffin Impress machine today, and a lot of times I like to cut into the magnetic mat of this cutting sandwich. But when I'm die cutting things like glitter, I like to cut into the actual cutting pad because I find that it gives me a little more force to get through this glitter cardstock, but I'm not using any sandwich that's different than my normal die cutting sandwich. If you find you're having difficulty cutting through glitter cardstock, you may want to add a metal shim to your die cutting sandwich, but I find that this die cut just perfectly. Now, while I'm doing my die cutting, I'm also going to take a panel of ivory cardstock and I'm going to run it through my die cut machine using the dotted chevron cover plate. This is going to give me some texture on the card panel that I'm creating. And I love these cover plate dies because they do not have an outer cutting edge, which means that you can use them directly on a folded card front as well. And you can see that beautiful texture and pattern. It's just really a great way to kind of spice up an otherwise flat background. Now I'm going to start layering up my leaves because I'm doing an extra layer of vellum in here. So I am adding some liquid glue to the detail portion of these leaves and then stacking them onto their coordinating vellum layers here. And I did this so that I would make sure that I didn't get any adhesive or glue onto the portion that would show through. So by adding the veining first to the vellum, I can then flip it over and I know where the veining is and I can hide my glue on that part instead of working colored cardstock to vellum to glitter or detail piece. I went the opposite direction, and that, like I said, just helps me to keep my glue hidden. And I'm going to stack all of these up. I'm using 3 different colors for the base of the leaves. If I had to kind of name them using Pinkfresh colors, these are not Pinkfresh Studio cardstocks, I want to mention, but if I had to pick the closest colors in Pinkfresh ink colors, I would say Tidal Pond, Persimmon, and Marigold would be your ink colors that would coordinate most closely with this color palette. So now that I have them all adhered together, 3 layers, I'm going to work on my sentiment. The stamped sentiments I'm using in both projects today come from the Thanks for Being There stamp set and coordinating die set. I'm going to stamp this onto this really beautiful kind of jade colored cardstock in some Versamark ink. I did prep the surface with a powder tool so that I wouldn't get embossing powder where I didn't want it. Then I used some gold embossing powder and I'm going to heat set that. And once it's cooled, I'm going to use a microfiber cloth to dust away any of the excess powder tool that's left. And then I'll use the coordinating die to die cut this out. Now I did die cut 2 additional layers from that cardstock and stack them up to give this die cut a little bit of weight. And now I'm starting to arrange my beautiful layered leaves along with the sentiment. I'm using some liquid glue to hold them all together. And keep in mind, liquid glue on glitter, it will set up and it will hold, but you do have to give it a little more time than when you're adhering regular cardstock to regular cardstock. Now I flipped it over and on the back, I'm adding some foam adhesive to give this a little more dimension. And this kind of rusty colored leaf, I'm going to adhere directly onto my background panel that I have cut with that dotted chevron cover plate. And I'm just kind of putting that up towards the top left. And then I'll add my sentiment and leaf grouping with that foam adhesive on the back and just place that kind of in that lower left-hand corner. I love how the leaves look like they're kind of falling down there. I did add a little bit of kind of gold embellished twine along the base of this. And then I added the entire card front onto an A2 folding card base, a craft colored card base using some foam adhesive. Now, as if the glitter on the leaves wasn't enough, I could not resist adding just a little more, so I'm adding some champagne glitter drops using my Barely Art glue and my Pinkfresh Studio dual tip embellishment tool. I love this thing. It is so handy when I'm putting all of those beautiful embellishments on. And you can see all the sparkle and shine on this card. I absolutely love it. Now that's using these Foliage Shaker leaves or Foliage Shaker dies as standalone die cuts, but now let's use it to create a shaker card. So I've taken a panel of craft cardstock and I've used the solid leaf shape to die cut a window into this panel. And I'm also die cutting the veining or the detail piece from some glitter cardstock again. And I'm gonna set those to the side while I work on building this shaker window. Now behind this open leaf portion, I need to place some acetate to hold all of my shaker guts inside. So I've gone ahead and ran a thin line of liquid glue around that opening of the window on the back side of this card front, and I've placed a piece of acetate. Now I'm flipping this over to the front side of the card and I'm adding some liquid glue on the back of my detail piece. And I'm just kind of nesting that into the window that I created and allowing it to adhere to that acetate that I placed on the back side of that window. Now I'm going to flip to the back side again and I'm going to add some foam adhesive all around this shaker window, kind of closing that in so all of my shaker bits will be held into place. I want to make sure each of the ends of these foam adhesive pieces are touching another part so that it seals that well all together and nothing can escape. We do not want any escape artists here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just work on decorating the front of this card. I have some of this beautiful jade colored cardstock and I've cut it into a 3/8 inch strip and I'm adhering it at an angle along the bottom of this card front. And then this Grateful for You sentiment comes from the Thanks for Being There stamp set. This is also a new stamp set that's releasing tomorrow, so keep your eye on the shop. I stamped that in Regal Kiss ink and then die cut a couple extra layers to place behind it to give it some oomph. And then I placed that onto my card front. Now to fill my shaker window, I'm using some champagne glitter drops. I've just sprinkled those in. And then I'm removing the backer to the foam adhesive and placing a piece of kind of mustardy golden yellow cardstock on the back of my shaker window to hold all those pieces in. And then I can trim off the excess pieces of that strip that I placed on the front and add a few more glitter drops to the card front of this project. Really beautiful. I'm going to finish this off by matting it on another piece of that mustardy golden yellow cardstock and placing that onto a top folding A2 size craft card base to finish off my card. So there you have it, 2 ways to use the brand new Foliage Shaker leaves from Pinkfresh Studio. A little sneak peek for you. Be sure to check back tomorrow, July 27th in the Pinkfresh shop. These will be available and you don't want to miss it. This is a great release and I think you're going to have a great time creating with it. Now, I've linked as many of the products that I can below in the YouTube description, but keep in mind, these products are not yet available, so I don't have all the links available until after the release goes live on July 27th. So if you're looking for these products, check back then. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared here. And I would love it if you would leave a comment below and let me know which of these 2 cards is your favorite and which product that I sneak peeked that you are most excited about. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.